Hello! Today we have Little Miss Giggles. Can you giggle and eat cornflakes at the same time? Little Miss Giggles could. Do you giggle while you're asleep? Little Miss Giggles did. Can you giggle while you're brushing your teeth? Little Miss Giggles could. She was the giggliest girl in the world, and she lived in Chuckle Cottage. She's always giggling, But one terrible day last summer, you never guess what happened. She lost her giggle, just like that. Snap, gone. She had woken up giggling, as usual. She had giggled her way downstairs, as usual. And she had giggled while she was having breakfast, as usual. But while she was out walking in the woods around Chuckle Cottage, she realized that she wasn't giggling anymore. She stopped. That's odd, she thought to herself. Now, ordinarily, she would have giggled to herself, but not today. She tried laughing, she tried giggling. Nothing happened. She tried again. Nothing happened again. Oh dear, she thought miserably. And as she walked along, a little tear trickled down her cheek. Poor little Miss Giggles. She met Mr. Happy, who was out for his usual morning stroll. Hello, little Miss Giggles, he laughed. And how are we today? But then he noticed her sad little face. What happened? He asked anxiously. You're the happiest person I know. Why are you not giggling or laughing or smiling? He paused. Next to myself, of course, he added hastily. She explained miserably. I've lost my giggle. Lost your giggle? He asked in bewilderment. Mr. Happy scratched his head. Well, we'll just have to find it again, won't we? Little Miss Giggles nodded her head, but not very hopefully. Come on, he said. Seizing her by the hand, he took her off to see Mr. Funny. There's nobody like Mr. Funny for a giggle, he said. But it was no use. Mr. Funny tried and tried to produce a giggle. Even a chuckle and even a smile, but little Miss Giggles just couldn't. Tell you what, said Mr. Funny, I'll tell you my latest joke. Made it up myself, he added modestly. Very funny. He could hardly get to the end of the joke for laughing, and when he had finished, both he and Mr. Happy nearly fell over when they were laughing so much. Did little Miss Giggle laugh? No, she didn't. But not little Miss Giggles. It's no use, she sighed. I'm going to be miserable for the rest of my life. I know I am. I'm not going to be happy anymore. And then she thought, and I'll have to change my name. If I can't giggle, I can't be called Little Miss Giggles, she sobbed. And she started to cry again. Big fat tears. Oh dear me. So Mr. Happy took her to see Mr. Topsy-Turvy to ask his advice. Morning, good, he said cheerfully, and then he caught sight of little Miss Giggles' sad face. Matter the what? He asked. He always spoke back to front. Mr. Happy explained what had happened. Oh dear, dear-oh, he exclaimed. And then he thought, Doctor, the see to her take her to see the doctor. That's a good idea, said Mr. Happy, and then he took her straight away to see Dr. Make-You-Well. Mr. Happy told the doctor all about little Miss Giggles' lack of giggle. The doctor said, put out your tongue. Not you, you silly Billy, he said to Mr. Happy. I'm talking to little Miss Giggles. Little Miss Giggles put out her tongue. Looks all right to me, said Dr. Make-You-Well. Open your mouth. Dr. Made-You-Well peered inside. He said again. You're all right. You're right. Not a giggle in sight. I'm sorry, he said, but there's nothing I can do for you. You just have to wait for your Giggle to come back. Poor little Miss Giggles. Mr. Happy took her home, and even he by this time was not looking his cheerful self. What a sorry sight, look at them all being sad, don't you think? Why don't you try to giggle, he said hopefully. Little Miss Giggles opened her mouth. Ha ha ha, she said dolefully. He, he said miserably. Ho ho ho, she added mournfully. It's no use at all. She could say ha ha ha, but is she giggling? Is she really happy? No. Mr. Happy said, I'm sorry, I can't help. They reached the garden gate of the chocolate cottage. And as little Miss Giggles went sadly through the front door, he went home to think. The idea came to him while he was having lunch. See? Lunchtime. He rubbed his hands with glee. Tee-hee, he chortled to himself. And later that afternoon, he knocked on the front door of Chuckle Cottage. Who's there? Asked a sad little voice. It's me, called out Mr. Happy. I have a present for you. Little Miss Giggles, looking thoroughly miserable, opened the door. Here you are, said Mr. Happy, and handed her a large box. On top of the box, in large letters, it said, 1 Giggle, medium size, this side up, handle with care. Little Miss Giggles looked at the box in amazement. What is it? She asked. It's what it said it is, laughed Mr. Happy. You lost your Giggle, so I've got you another one. That Giggle cost me a lot of money in the box, he added. Little Miss Giggles opened the box. She exclaimed, but there's nothing in it. Mr. Happy said, Of course not. Giggles are invisible. We can't see Giggles in the box. Little Miss Giggles said, But that's absolutely ridiculous. Is it? Chuckled Mr. Happy. Of course it is, she giggled. She giggled. Little Miss Giggles finally got her giggles back. That's the end of today's story. I hope you've enjoyed. See you next time. Bye.